It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today as we start a brand new week on the channel. You can tell by my shirt available in the merch store, y'all. Don't forget it. Metal makes Mondays better. It's the way we always start, y'all. Sometimes other people get the case of the Mondays, but when we get a case of the Mondays, we're rocking out. All right. So today, I am listening to music from Jinjer, and I haven't listened to music from this band for a little over a year. They are a metalcore band from Ukraine, and we have heard them 3 times on the channel previously, but very early on is when I was initiated into the music of Jinjer. It was Pisces all the way back in February of 2021, like our second month doing this. And people said, here's a band, classical composer who wants to listen to metal music. Here's a band for you. And I about had to hide under my desk, y'all, when I heard Tatiana sing. But I've come back to them. I'm really fascinated by their music, by their sound, by her technique. We came back to them with a song called Home Back. That was in February of 2022. We were supporting the Ukrainians very shortly after the war began. It is still ongoing. We still send our support to the Ukrainians, to the Ukrainian people, and to our friends in Jinjer, right, who are from Donetsk, I think, in Ukraine. The last time I heard from this band, I actually heard them performing live, and it was a song called Perennial. We heard that in March of last year. So as we are kind of finishing out International Women's Month here on the channel, I'm like, let's get back to some Jinjer. And one of the pieces that was in our master list, these are pieces and songs and artists that folks have suggested we listen to. I've got a whole huge list of potential pieces to get to. It was this song, a song called Vortex. And so that's the one that we're listening to today. I'm happy that you're here. This is the lead single from an album called Wallflowers. It was their 4th album that they released back in August of 2021. And this time I'm going to be watching the official video that was made available for this song. It's the same duration. The video is the same duration as the audio that's on the album, so I feel comfortable in at least watching the video as I record this. If copyright doesn't allow us to show these visuals, then we'll just put up the album cover as we go. But that's what I'm going to be watching and trying to keep up with, friends. So let's get to it. Tatiana Shmelyuk is on the vocals. Roman Ibram Kalilov is on guitar. Eugene Abdukhanov is on the bass guitar, and Vladislav Ulasevich is on the drums. Vortex, it looks to be about exactly what we would think of with that word, vortex. You know, you're circling the drain, and it's sucking you in, and it's sucking you in. And that's what they're talking about here. I want to hear it, and then we'll talk about it after it is completed. This is Vortex from Jinjer. Here we go. Okay. Lay soul. Lay soul.
Like a lunatic, frantic. The man in the room looks so dramatic with a latitude on his right.
6 to 5 in a minor key.
Spiral traffic feels too dramatic.
They hardly ever get to the 1 chord. There it is. Okay. How heavy is his thought in a half an hour or so? They crushed the floor and smashed the man's toes. That's a heavy thought. Yeah, tritonal over the voice. I'm a driftwood with no strength, without soul, and with no will. Without soul, with no will.
Like a feather, I travel down this part of the sky.
They changed keys too.
Like a feather, I travel down this part of the sky. Falling deeper than it is. Stars through rabbits and stars.
They're a half step lower than where they started. Spin, swirl, whirl, spin, swirl. There's the Vortex. Check out the video too. Really genty, heavy. Spin. And that's the song. Well, whirl, spin, swirl. The Vortex. Y'all. Whoa. Yeah, so what I was hearing, most of that, it's interesting. You can be in a key and never give us the tonic chord, right? We don't need to hear tonic to know that it's tonic. We know what key we're in by how the dominants work. That's the secret, y'all. You know what key you're in by what's acting as the dominant, because in a major scale, there's only one spot where if we have a major scale and we start building seventh chords, lovely. That one. It's the only one. The rest of them, there's a minor, there's half diminished. So that one has a pull to there, and that one has a pull to there. Even if we never give it to you, even if we never give you the resultant note. So with them, they're in this key. They're in B flat, and they're giving us there to there, maybe there to there. Yadam, yadam. It never goes there. They just keep flirting around it. Occasionally they get it to you a little bit, and then something starts swirling the drain, and they're doing it to you again, down a half step. and it's going to go there instead, right? We're almost down the drain. It's the vortex that's happening, y'all. It's really fascinating. And man, I don't know how she does those vocals like that. It's really phenomenal. It's not my cup of tea, friends, but sometimes when you need to emote with your instrument, which is the voice, sometimes you just got to throw in every ounce of angst and tension that you can to communicate the level of dissatisfaction that you might have. Via an Apple Music interview, Tatiana said this about this song. She said it's the first single and also the first song that I started to write lyrics to as they were starting to record this album. She says it's dedicated to all those people like me who spend so much time thinking about their inner world that they start to be devoured by the dark thoughts. Their head is getting heavy, so heavy that it turns into a steel ball and falls off, makes a hole in the floor, and then a hole in the ground, and then a hole in the earth, and then guess what? It sucks you in. Vortex sucks you right in there. So please don't dive so deeply into your thoughts. It's a bad habit, unquote. Well, let's unpack that, right? So, with the lyrics, she actually puts the ball in there. Like a lunatic frantic, the man in the room looks so dramatic with the left shoe on his right foot. The spiral traffic seems too traumatic. Quiet, the man is wandering around. Where's the way out? Where's the way out? He never found. And inside, there's a ball made of lead. It's rolling and rumbling on parquet. Yeah. Oh, how heavy is the ball. It bends his spine to the very ground. Neither his nor another. Enormous. Ludicrous. And then it goes in, oh, how heavy is his thought. In a half an hour or so, it's crushed the floor and it smashed the man's toes. How heavy is his thought? In a half an hour or so, it's gone ahead and crushed the floor and smashed his soul. And through the black hole in the floor, I begin my whirl. I'm a driftwood with no strength, without soul, and with no will. Whoosh, you get sucked right down. Holy crap, y'all. Trapped in a vortex, a heavy, deep, dark, not good vortex of your own brain. Just losing yourself within your own thoughts. So I hear her when she's talking about try not to go too deep, y'all. She says it's a bad habit. And that's where I think, is it a bad habit, or is it just something that each person needs to figure out for themselves, just how deep they can go? Because learning more about yourself, diving deep into learning who you are, what you want, what you think, what you believe, what you want out of life, what you aspire to, going deep into that, I think can be very good. That's why most of us, when we start diving deep, we need a partner, we need help, we need a therapist. You know, I struggle, friends. I struggle with some thoughts, not quite like this, the way that she's describing it, but I struggle with my own brain. One of the ways that I very much struggle with my own brain is that I was just talking about this with my therapist this morning, friends. We're going to be flying later this year, and I have when I say debilitating, I'm not kidding. I hate flying. It makes it so scary to me, just being up in the metal tube flying at speeds that man was not supposed to speed at, you know. It freaks me out. It absolutely freaks me out. The higher away from the ground that we go, the more freaked out that I get, you know? And so I'm like with my therapist, okay, I made a reservation last Wednesday. The next day, I had a full-on panic attack. I'm not flying for months. Help me. Why is this happening? I'm I'm getting caught in the vortex. I need something stable, a stabilizing hand. I don't want to be driftwood that's just whirling and spinning and swirling. So when we plumb the depths, it's helpful to have someone there who's on our side, who can be there with us to help us navigate that. So maybe if I was to really agree with Tatiana, I would say don't dive so deeply into your thoughts without a friend there to be with you. Because then you can really make some headwind, I think. Wow, what a lead single too, friends. I do notice, by the way, that they have an album that has been released since this album came out in 2021. It's an album called Duel, and it was released in February of last year. And it looks like they are very much going out and supporting their work. They are appearing more than likely near you, friends. This year, they're going to be in South America, they're going to be in Indonesia. They have a tour later in the year that's extensively going to go through North America and throughout much of Europe. So if you are into this kind of music and you want to see Jinjer do their thing, I think you can get that worked out, y'all. Whew. I know they'll be coming not too far from me. Do I go to a show? And do I bring if I go to a show, do I bring protection? Because holy crap, this band really brings it, don't they? They just put it all out there. And I really respect that. I really respect that. So, a big time piece, a heavy piece, a thought provoking piece to get us started on this Metal Monday. I really enjoyed getting back to this band. They always make me think, they always provoke an emotional response. And that's what we ask for in our art. So thank y'all for continuing to suggest that I listen to music from Jinjer. Thank y'all for continuing to watch our episodes. And we're off and running, friends, on a Metal Monday. I've got a lot more coming up this week, but that's going to be all for me today, my friends. I thank you very much. We will see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.